Let's be real for a second. If you look at the job market, the planet, housing price, and your own attention span, we are undeniably 100% cooked. Everything feels expensive and exhausting and slightly dystopian. You're sitting there trying to decide whether to stress about your future or watch 3 hours of a guy power washing a patio. So, how the hell are you actually supposed to be happy when the world feels like it's actively buffering? Let's talk about it. The first trap we fall into is thinking we can out optimize the chaos. You see some guy on TikTok telling you to grind harder, wake up at 3:45 a.m. and drink cold water and optimize your gut health so you can afford a studio apartment by the time you are 40. And part of you think maybe if I just try harder I can fix this. But no, stop. You cannot hustle your way out of burning buildings. When the system itself is broken, trying to play by its rule perfectly is a fast track to mental breakdown. You feel miserable not because you are lazy, but because you are trying to force a normal human being to function in a complete abnormal hyper capitalist simulations. Back in the day, a guy named Albert Camus, who basically lived through his own versions of a global dumpster fire, figure out the ultimate cheat code for this exact feelings. He realized that when life gets completely unhinged and nothing makes sense, the worst thing you can do is take it seriously. Think about it. If you're playing video games and you suddenly realize the developer rigged the game so you literally cannot win, do you start crying and studying the geometry of the map harder? No. You start doing backflips of clips, throwing random items at the NPCs, and playing chaos mode because once the stakes are fixed, the game becomes fun again. So, how do you actually apply this when your life feels cooked? So, how do you actually apply this when your life feels cooked? Three rules. There are three rules. Add up optimistic nihilism. Re- Realize that on a cosmic scale, your embarrassing moment, your missed job interviews, and your weird eras literally do not matter at all. The universe is 13 billion years old. You are a talking rock floating in a space. Use that freedom. If nothing matters, then your failures have zero permanent weight. You are completely bulletproof. And the second one is lower your expectations to zero. Stop expecting a linear life script. Accept things to go sideways. When a plan fails, don't spiral. Just laugh and say, classic. Of course, that happened. Treating your life like a dark comedy keeps you from taking the hits personally. And the third thing is reclaim your tiny rebellions. If the macro world is out of your control, micro rebellion is your superpower. Make art nobody asks for. Spend an hour learning a useless skill just because it brings you joy. Be weird on purpose. Weird, like being weird is good. And also refuse to let a boring, broken world stripe over your capacity to find things funny. Mhm. So here is the secret nobody tells you about being in your teens and 20s. The pressure to have it all figured out right now is an illusion. The older generations built a house of cards, handed it to us, and told us to keep it clean. You don't have to keep it clean. You're allowed to laugh at the mess. When you stop trying to win a game that we start rigged from the start, you finally get to play your own game. And that is where actual happiness sneak in, right in the middle of the, wreckage, when you realize you have nothing left to lose. So if your brain feels a little less cooked today, hit subscribe. Drop a comment below telling me how cooked your week has been on a scale of 1 to 10. Stay weird, stop stressing, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.